Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another segment of my amateur deck profiles. I promise that this one will not be as long as the first one. I went into quite a lot of detail because it's like my favorite deck of all time. I'll try to keep this one to like under 10 minutes, but this is Despots. This deck is so cool because like pretty much the whole core of this deck is common. The only one that's not a common or that well, it is a common, but it comes in a super rare variety is Despot 2, but I just have that one in common. I try to build my decks as cheap as possible. Sometimes spend a little bit more, but I try to get the lowest rarities just because I care more about just getting all the cards and the rarities. But anyway, so Despot 1, obviously he's the only tuner Despot monster, which kind of sucks. I really wish that there was another one, but you really only need one because he doesn't really do anything special, and whenever you summon 2 or more machines at the exact same time, so like with the pendulum summon or with the machine duplication, then you can summon him from the graveyard. So trying to get this guy in the graveyard as fast as possible is pretty important because you can't pendulum summon him because he's a level 1, and other than synchro material he really has no uses. But I also think he beefs up some of the ones, so that's good. And then you cannot play this deck if you don't have 3 Despot 2. When Despot 2 is special summoned, you add any Despot card, so any card with Despot in its name, from your deck to your hand. You kind of have to specify to your opponent like which one's resolving, because sometimes people want, not necessarily the locals, but when you get up in like regionals and stuff where people care a lot more about rulings and specifics, you should specify like, hey, this Despot is searching this card, this one's like, don't just say like, oh well, they're searching these cards. Like, you have to specify which one is searching which, because people get antsy about that crap. But this has to be special summoned. And one thing to be careful is because the Despots power themselves up, it's easy to forget that to activate cards like machine duplication, it has to have 500 attack points. If it has above 500 attack points, you cannot use machine duplication. So if you have like a Despot base in your hand, you're gonna want to play this card first before you use Despot base. But it has to be special summoned, preferably in defense mode, so that way you can get your searches off. And then you also need to have 3 Despot 3. He, in my opinion, is the best one, or one of the best for getting out plays, because because a lot of times for some reason I get bad hands with this deck, and I don't know, maybe I just need to like rearrange some cards or whatever, but I usually get bad hands. So even if I have a bad hand, if I have at least him in my hand and my opponent doesn't have anything to negate his effect, then you can make your plays with him. I usually like going into him and then summoning like the level 2 to get the search, or I'll go into Despot 5 and I try to get, like some back row removal, or worst case I guess summon him to get some synchro plays off. But you need Despot 3, and then during either player's turn he can power up 1 Despot monster by 500 points for every Despot card on your field. And this is during either player's turn, so I would recommend doing this at like the start of your opponent's turn, just so that you can have a chance. And then you also need to have 3 Despot 4. I like to have about at least 2 of these on the field, because like when I'm facing Cosmo and they have Dark Lady can negate one of them, but she can't negate both. And I nearly beat the crap out of Cosmo with this deck. It was very close, and we went into time, and I lost by 100 life points. But this deck does pretty alright against Cosmo. I wouldn't say Dark Planet, but everyone else is fine. But this one is freaking awesome, because he also helps get plays, because whenever he attacks, he can pretty much run over anything as long as you can send the proper level from your deck to the graveyard. Be careful though, because your opponent doesn't take battle damage for the rest of the turn. You have to be careful with that, because you're trying to push for damage, then you're not going to want to use his effect. But either way, when he destroys an opponent's monster by battle, then you can summon 2 Despot monsters from your hand or graveyard. So you could do like 1 from your hand, 1 from your graveyard, 2 from the graveyard, 2 from the hand, etc. But they have to have different levels. I love this because I usually love getting the Despot 5 or like my Despot 2 again, just to keep searching and destroying stuff. It's freaking awesome. And speaking of Despot 5, at first I didn't like this card, but you need to have 3 of them because he's basically like a monster reborn for the Despots. If he's destroyed while in the Pendulum Zone, then you get to special summon any Despot card from your graveyard. So, like I said, probably go into Despot 2 or Despot 4. Despot 2 and 4 are usually the ones I like to special summon the most with this deck, but that's just me. Oh, and him, of course, because when he's special summoned, well, actually, when he's summoned in general, he can destroy back row. So, he's like your MST of the deck, plus this is how you make Cyber Dragon Nova and thus Infinity. So, you had to have 3 to try to maximize that chance. And this one's not as great, but you just play it because it's a pendulum scale of 1. When he's summoned, he changes a monster's battle position. Really not that great, but whatever. And then when he's destroyed in the Pendulum Zone, you add a Despot card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's pretty good too. I only have 1. I had 2 of them at first, but I watched a couple deck. Before I ever make a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, I watch other deck profiles. I usually watch about 2 or 3 different deck profiles of the same deck and see how people are doing them. And this one guy who got first place at his locals, he likes to have 4 of each scale. So he has like 4 10s and 4 1s. Well, since you already have 3 Despot 5, and Despot 5 is a 10, you really don't need to have 5 10s. So, and he's really good for like the piercing, but I don't know. I just don't get to utilize him as much as I'd like to anyway. So having him at 1 is kind of alright to begin with. So to finish off our 1s, we have 2 Despot 008s. She's actually pretty good because, I'm assuming it's a girl, I mean look at it, it's like a bunny. But she's pretty good because she can help get rid of monsters. I mean, there are lots of times when I used her to attack multiple monsters when I was just trying to push for game. And, you know, it may only have like 15, 2,000 attack points, but that's still enough to run over a lot of stuff. So I like her ability to, destroy multiple things. So that's pretty good. And then to finish it off, we have the Gundam. That's what I like to call it. Because seriously, like if y'all have ever seen Gundam, like it looks just like a Gundam robot. But 009, you only need 1 of him because he has no restrictions on the way he's special summoned. So, if it's later in the game, if it's early in the game, then I would use Despot 003 to summon 002. But if it's like later game, then you could easily summon this and bring out that, Or you can use 004 to summon it from the graveyard. I mean, or you can pendulum summon it. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to get him out, but you only need 1. He's got a really great effect. Powers himself up. He can easily reach close to 10,000 or above 10,000 attack points. He's got the Armades effect where no card effects can be activated while he's attacking. And if he would be destroyed for any reason like Dark Hole, Raigeki, or blah blah blah, then you can just, pitch off one of your other Despot cards. So that's it with the Despots. And then I have a GeneX Allied Birdman. He's another tuner. I mainly have him in the deck just so that I can try to recycle the effect of Despot 003. But sometimes I take him out for Foolish Burial because sometimes I don't have enough ways of getting 001 in the grave. But I've used him before to try to, in case he's a level 3 tuner, it makes it a little bit easier to synchro summon. And then I had the 2 Speedward Menkos to stop OTKs. This guy's really, really great for stopping OTKs. I mean, it's fantastic. And I have like 3 more of these that I put in other decks. I just love Speedward Menko. And then I just have 1 effect. This card's like a $4 common or like nearly 5. I mean, even though this got reprinted, it's still freaking expensive. That sucks. But this is my 2nd Effect Veiler. The other one is in my Synchron deck. But Effect Veiler is really good this format because there's so many things that Effect Veiler just stops right in their tracks. And when you stop that, like I'm not going to lie, whenever I summon a Despot 003 and my opponent Effect Veilers me, I'm like, well, shoot, I have nothing else I can do now. And I have to end my turn. So you can stop a lot of plays with Effect Veiler. It's really good right now. And then that wraps up the monsters. So we have the 3 Despot base. And I only have 1 Terraforming because Terraforming is just kind of meant to help thin out the deck. Plus, I mean, you can search this card so easily already. But like I said, I just had the Terraforming. You know, this is another card that I could take out for Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is in my side deck. I don't main deck it because I don't always need it. But if like if I was ever gonna take out a card for Foolish Burial, I usually take out this because Despot Base can be added to your hand so easily. And Despot Base, by the way, is really good because it can help get rid of some crappy hands, but they have to be Despot cards that you return, and most importantly, gives all your Despot cards 500 attack and defense. And its last effect, if you can get this last effect off, you got game, because you send like all your opponent's cards, what is it, to the, oh, it shuffles all your opponent's cards back into their deck. So like they can't, if they can't stop that, you're gonna win. And then I only played 2 Machine Duplication. I don't even have the third one in the side deck. I guess I should add it to the side deck just in case. But I only have 2 because I only have, what, like 3... I have 4 Despot monsters that I have 3s of. I have 2, 3, 4, and 5 that are 3s. But sometimes this card can be like a dead draw, you know? And so I really only have it at 2. I probably will put the third one in the side deck in case I ever need to have 3 of them, but generally I only need 2. I mean, you go into it a lot faster when you do have 3, but I try to just put 2 because I just hate having it when I don't need it. And then I don't have Twin Twisters, so I try to have like a buttload of these. But as I said, Despot 5 already kind of helps serve as your Mystical Space Typhoon, but it still is good to have some already. So just 2. Just 2's fine. And then I have 2 Reasonings. This goes off so much in this deck because, you know, the Despots have levels ranging from 1 to 9. So it is super... Your opponent only has a 1 in 9th chance of actually calling it correctly. And even if they do send it to the graveyard, so what? Because you can still get it back other ways. But Reasoning just helps this deck go off so much. So much. I just love it. 1 limited removal because, like, it's limited removal, bro. You gotta play it with machines. 1 Dark Hole, just you know, to help with monster destruction, obviously. And then I have, this is also an expensive card. This is like a $4 or $5 common as well. About as expensive as Effect Veiler. But this is obviously just to help draw. It's helped me. And then now for the traps, I have 1 Quaking Mirror Force. This card's alright. I just don't like cards that your opponent has to attack into. I prefer cards that are more live, such as Torrential Tribute, but I don't know. I just like it in the Despot deck for whatever reason. And then finally, 3 Reckless Greed. I have Reckless Greed in here because I don't own a Max C. Max C, even with all the reprints in the world, is still like a $10 card, and so that makes it pretty pricey. And you know, so Reckless Greed helps out with this deck a whole lot because, you know, like combining this with Despot Base, you can usually, you know, get good hands. And I just really like Reckless Greed. I think it helps out this deck, you know, since I don't have a Max C. But if I did have a Max C, I would probably take out like 2 of these. I still would leave 1, but like the other 2 would be a Max C. So that's it for the main deck. And then for the extra deck, 1 Acid Golem, because I don't hardly ever go into him, but this is just I have him in here pretty much just in case I ever need him to run over something that's really big. And then Gaga Cowboy. I only just recently put this in here like yesterday or whatever. I didn't have him in here when I went to the tournament. He would have been really helpful when I went into time, because it's pretty easy to make this guy. All you need is just 2 0/0/4s, which are very easy to get out. And being able to inflict the 800 points of damage, while it might not necessarily for a game, like dropping them to 0, all those, because I went into time every single moment every single round that I dueled for some reason. So this guy could have won me every single one of those duels, because every single time to duel that I lost was only by like 100 life points. So he would have really helped, and that's mainly why I put him in there, to help me when I go into time. Gear Giant X. You need him to help you with your searches. And Castell, because it returns stuff to the deck. And then Cyber Dragon Nova, and Cyber Dragon Infinity. This is obviously the most expensive card that I bought for this, and at first I wasn't going to buy it, but it was $23, and I'm not sure if it... Someone told me I should have waited on it, but I really just wanted it, and I felt like $23 was an okay price, so I went ahead and got Cyber Dragon Infinity. When I dropped this card on my opponents just... It was so hard. I mean, Cyber Dragon Infinity is not unbeatable, obviously, because he can only negate stuff once per turn, but he's still a force to be reckoned with, and Despots are one of those decks that can bring him out pretty easily. So, now onto the Synchros. We have Naturia Beast. This card won me against Monarchs, because this guy couldn't do a damn thing once I had Beast out. So, if you can make Naturia Beast, you know, like GG for your opponent. Catastor, you know, just because he can run over stuff. And then Stardust Charge Warrior to help... I literally pretty much just go into it to help me draw. And I don't hardly ever go into this, but, you know, it's there. It's an option. It helps to destroy traps, should you ever get it out. Metamorphosis Horus. I was never able to go into this, but this card's good because if you use a Pendulum... Basically, you want to summon this card with... you know, Despot 001 and Despot 005, because when you use a Pendulum monster as your non-tuner, then your opponent chooses a monster they control and they give it to you. So it's like a snatch steal, but your opponent chooses what you're gonna get. Despot Jet, because this card helps you get off plays by destroying your cards and special summoning more Despots and adding ones to your hand. So I hardly ever got him out. In fact, I think I only got him once in the whole tournament. But he's just great if you can get him off. And then I'm currently borrowing this from my Synchron deck, which I hardly ever do. But Trishula, I put him in there just because I brought him to the tournament. And Trishula, I was only able to play him like twice. But every time that I was able to play him, it helped out a lot, obviously, because it's Trishula, bro. And then this one's really good too. Just like Despot Jet, this card can destroy some of the, like, cards such as 006 and 005. I want this to destroy them to activate its effect, because then I get, you know, their abilities off. But, you know, this card should be played in, like, every single Pendulum deck that can Synchro Summon, because he is just so freaking good for that. Then the last card is Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. He's pretty much only in here for Cosmos. Or Burning Abyss, actually. Burning Abyss and Cosmos is what he's in there for. You know, because it just completely locks your opponent out of using their monster effects completely for the whole battle phase, whether it be yours or theirs, and that is freaking great. But the dude used a Kaiju to get this off the field, and I was so mad about that because I lost after he did that, but it's whatever. And then, now for the side deck, I don't have much of a side deck. I put this in there, you know, it's whatever. It's a pretty situational card. But well, situational in the sense of, like, there's, you know, like, whenever you can use this card, that's great. But a lot of people, it was a hype card because now it's not worth nothing. But if you can't ever use this card, then it's great. Foolish Barrel, like I said, I don't like to main deck it, but I have sided it in between rounds. I put this just in case I ever go into the second one. And then this is kind of odd, but before I got Burying Mirror Force, I put this in there to try to do some, like, effect, you know, like effect damage. That's the side deck. And then, like I said, I want to try to put, you know, the extra copy of Machine Duplication in here, because, in fact, I don't even know where it is. I got to try to find it, but the extra Machine Duplication should go in here as well. But that's it. I hope you liked the deck. I certainly liked it. It was one of the cheapest decks I ever built. I probably got it for, like, less than 40 bucks, I want to say. Or maybe right at 40. You know, Cyber Dragon Infinity was obviously the most expensive thing. But yeah, man, I'm all about them cheap Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Because anything that I can have a great deck with and play around is just so fun. So, hopefully you guys like this. I'm going to be posting more videos. I mean, I don't really have that many decks. But what I do have, I'm going to show off. Because it's just all about amateur profiles. And have a good day. Bye-bye.